Hello world, it's me, Julian Venables, the London Astrologer, and I'm here today to tell you all about the Mercury retrograde and the interesting aspects that Mars is making to Uranus and Pluto. Here's the board. I hope you're having a nice day today. I've been in the garden again. I planted out actually some fresh plants into my raised beds today. It's looking good. Anyway, so summer is so close to summer now. We're just a couple more days until the beginning of summer solstice. So here we go. Today it's Mercury in the sign of Cancer. It's at 14 degrees Cancer. It starts its retrograde and will go back to the 5 degrees Cancer up until July the 12th. And let's have a think about that for a minute. So Mercury is the planet of the mind, of communications, of thinking, of decision making, of learning about things and listening. It's very much the planet of listening. And so when it's in Cancer, we often are talking about family matters, things to do with nurturing, things to do with caring for, and things to do with the past and the memories. Cancer likes to keep things close. It's an emotional connective sign. About feelings and the transmission of feelings and the feelings from between people. And Mercury is that when Mercury is in Cancer, we can really talk about those things. We talk with emotion, with feeling. So this retrograde is a review phase, talking about maybe family matters from the past. Now it's making its station today, so there's a couple of really strong indicators of that. You know, you might have had something happen with the family today, you know, talking to family members, for example, maybe old photographs and maybe the interrelationships that you have, maybe with siblings, brothers and sisters, because that's also mercurial. But this whole retrograde now is going to happen for the next 3 weeks. What's happening is in the sky is Mercury is meeting the Sun. They'll have a conjunction, and then Mercury will start to appear as a morning star. It's been an evening star of late, and it's going to return as a morning star. So there's a reset when Mercury and the Sun meet together. There's a little bit of like a reset going on. If the Mercury is the messenger, the Sun is like a leader, if you like. And the shining one. So the messages are coming through to the shining one, like the messengers are coming into the throne room of the shining one and telling people about things, telling them about things that hopefully will change the ideas, change the feelings that they have for a certain situation. So with all that in mind, right, I'm going to look at today's newspaper headlines, because you know, what goes on in the sky happens down here on Earth. So let's have a look. Well, you know, Mercury is younger people. It's also the planet of education and learning. And what we have here right now is headlines to do with doctors demanding schools reopen. That's in the Times today, on the Times headlines. Front page, doctors demand schools reopen. 1,600 doctors warn the Prime Minister that he risks scarring life chances of a generation. Now, doctors, of course, are nurturing people. They're very Cancerian people. They look after. You know, NHS is ruled by Cancer the crab, and so doctors demanding schools is like stationing Mercury, demanding a message that schools, learning things, young children, Mercury, that they reopen. You know, the planet is stationing, so it's holding its place in the sky, and there's a lot of emphasis coming through about the feelings that nurturing, caring people have about the situation of schools and education. The Daily Mirror also says, "Get our children back to school," and then on the Daily Telegraph we've got Prince Charles saying the young face devastation from virus, and again that's the idea that, you know, of course, you know, this feeling of being you know, almost like protectors or caretakers or counsellors. You know, these are sort of the roles that that people can play when how they talk when Mercury is in Cancer. You know, these are the sort of people who are going to be saying things. So you know, it's like a sense of needing to protect our young people. Now, and I think that's quite clear, really. Now today, it's also just happens, and this is a quick one, but it just happens to be Moon in Taurus today. So headlines to do with money matters, of course, when the Moon's in Taurus. It's to do with maybe a little bit kind of connected to that Taurus-Scorpio axis, is saving money and things like that, earning money, sense of value and self-worth. And here's a couple of big headlines on the Daily Express today. Fury over threat to state pension. And this is as the Moon has just made a sextile to Mars today as well, which is a very brief aspect, but it's quite a very fast-moving aspect. But still, interesting to see that as a headline today. And actually, the Independent says the same. State pensions lock in peril as Sunak fears rising cost. Taurus doesn't like to change very much, so when the Moon's in Taurus, there could be a sense of a firmness. Things not changing. So when something is threatened to change, of course, then it deserves a bit of a headline like this. Let's go to think about the Mars today, and I'll come back to the headlines in a minute because I want to talk to you about Mars. So the other day in my previous video, I was talking to you about how the Sun made an inconjunct Pluto and a semi-square to Uranus. And when that actually happened, the next day, there was some very interesting uprisings in London. There was the Black Lives Matter march nationwide, across towns and cities across the UK. But there was also a small element of rather thug-like right-wingers meeting in central London around Parliament Square. Getting drunk and making a terrible mess of things, and being very careless and being very obtuse and quite rebellious. And that was the Sun semi-square Uranus, and it was the inconjunct Pluto, because in a way there was definitely it got a lot of people's hackles up. And it was a strange paradox as well, that they were gathering around Churchill's statue and the cenotaph, and they were doing Nazi salutes, which was very strange because modern right-wingers doing Nazi salutes in front of Churchill's statue was very odd, seeing as Churchill fought the war against right-wing fascism. So that's like a bit of a paradox. Anyway, as a result of that, that was the Sun, the planet, the Sun, the lit up one, highlighting things, highlighting characters like that to do really difficult and unpleasant things. But then just a few days later, we've now got Mars semi-squaring Uranus, Mars sextiling Pluto. So what's happening with Mars now in Pisces, and this is happening, it peaks tonight in GMT between 11 PM and 1 AM, but these two aspects. And today's headlines was, this is like the action taken in the after effect, because if the Sun was lit something up, Mars comes in, you know, just by chance, Mars now then makes aspects to those same planets again. And this is about taking the action after the lit up event. So there's something about taking action, and what we have today is the announcement, again in the headlines, that the statue of Cecil Rhodes in Oriel College in Oxford must fall. Rhodes must fall. Oxford College backs campaign to remove statue. Cecil Rhodes was an imperialist who left a lot of money to Oriel College, and so that, you know, he was very connected to the British Empire and slave trade and various things like this, and now they are agreeing that his statue must be removed. that is the Mars, I think, taking action, because it's the removal of something. It'll be action to actually do something. And again, end of the roads. Now Oxford Dons surrender in battle over iconic statue. The key word surrender there is very much Mars in Pisces. Pisces often is a very surrendering sign. So yes, roads must fall, they say, you know, and I think that's quite interesting. And then just another little headline there, which I thought was quite good. Uninformed Trump asks Prime Minister if Britain was a nuclear power. To have that on our headlines today, when Mars is making a sextile to Pluto, I think that's quite interesting, because Pluto is nuclear power, and it's a reference to a sort of military strength, and Mars in Pisces is the unknown element. So uninformed, should we say, Trump asks Prime Minister if Britain was a nuclear power. So that's very interesting. And probably the last headline to think about here would be that Mars semi-square Uranus. Again, the headline today is an empty football stadium as the Premier League meet again. Football is Mars. It's two teams essentially taking action and fighting each other for the goals. You know, but in the guise of a game. But the empty stadium is quite surprising, which is Uranus. So Mars semi-squares Uranus, and we have an empty stadium in which football's going back to playing again. Right, well, I think that's probably sort of rounds it up. Now, please do come back in time. My next video will be summer solstice, the beginning of Cancer the Crab season, the solar eclipse. So stay tuned, please, to enjoy another video with me telling you all about some astrology as I see it. Please do, very welcome to subscribe to my channel, which I do believe is somewhere around about here. Please give me a thumbs up somewhere around about here, just below the screen. Please give me a thumbs up, and a friendly comment is always welcome, so thank you very much. And do share my videos as well, because you know it's nice to get known and it's very encouraging, and I'm really enjoying making these videos. So I'll be back soon. There's more to say actually, but I think I probably better keep the time down. Just very quickly though, I will add that the 6 planets retrograde, that peaks this week from today to the 25th of June. Technically speaking, there are 6 planets retrograde. That is Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune and Pluto. That's a lot of things we're reviewing. We are all reviewing a lot of things, and if Venus is coming to the end of its retrograde soon, that's to do with our sense of our hearts and our feelings, our emotions, relationships. Mercury is now our logical world. And Jupiter and Saturn is how we're thinking about our careers and how we are sort of going to expand and grow or work in the world. And then Pluto and Neptune are very much to do with the collective movements. There's a lot of review going on, and this week is very strong for thinking about what the past has been like for you and how to move forwards and preparing to move forwards, because we are, you know, you can really make something of your life at this point. Things can really change, and that's what you've got to see. You've got to grab hold of this new opportunity that's coming through. There's something potentially very big, and I'm going to talk about that next week because it's Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. But the eclipse, of course, will be the great trigger. So do come back and listen to me again. The London Astrologer. My name is Julian Venables. Do please visit my website, londоnastrologer.com. I'm starting to do webinars. I teach astrology too, and I give astrology readings. It's been a pleasure to talk to you today, and I do hope that you'll sign up and maybe see me again. Thank you very much. Bye for now.